Well, it's multifaceted. It kind of depends on the context of, personal regret of the person who passes, or even the regret we feel when someone passes, as far as how maybe we could have handled things better.
Tyler Henry rose to fame as a Hollywood medium, known for delivering messages from beyond and offering solace to those in need. But behind the glamour and supernatural insights lies a story that few truly understand. A story marked by personal health battles, isolation, and emotional pain. How does a young man, blessed with a rare gift, cope with the weight of loss, skepticism, and rejection all at once? What happens when the talents that bring hope also bring heartache? Tyler's journey challenges everything we expect from a celebrity medium and reveals the deep toll his unseen world takes on him. Tyler's connection to the supernatural began unexpectedly when he was just 10 years old, a time when most children are simply trying to figure out who they are. At that age, he experienced his first psychic moment, predicting the death of his grandmother. To him, it wasn't a gift. It was simply something strange and unsettling. When his father delivered the news of her passing, it left Tyler in shock. He had no frame of reference for what had happened, and it felt chaotic, as though he were standing on the edge of something incomprehensible. This early encounter with death didn't come with any comfort or explanation. Instead, it opened a door to a world he didn't fully understand, where Tyler found himself aware of feelings and messages that others couldn't perceive. Despite its mysticism, Tyler wasn't immediately at peace with this newfound ability. It wasn't a welcomed blessing, but rather an awakening full of confusion. As his abilities grew, so did the challenge of fitting them into a life that demanded normalcy. School, friendships, and family. These early psychic experiences isolated him, creating a divide between his world and that of his peers. As time passed, this divide only deepened, leading him to a place where the reality of his gift felt heavy, even suffocating. It was no longer just something unexplained. It was becoming something personal, something that set him apart. While other children were grappling with their identities, Tyler was grappling with something much larger and far more complex than his peers could understand. This emotional weight would become the bedrock of many struggles to come. This awakening wasn't a moment of clarity or relief. Instead, it carved out a space for him that was difficult to share with anyone. The isolation that followed was intense. Tyler was discovering a realm few could even begin to understand. He faced loneliness not because of typical adolescent insecurities, but because of a profound difference that was almost impossible to explain. His experiences with the supernatural became an internal struggle. What he saw and felt were real, yet they left him alienated in a world that demanded tangible answers. What had begun as an early, unsettling glimpse into the unknown would soon become an even more complicated reality. With each passing day, Tyler would find himself grappling with the emotional toll of a gift that seemed as much a curse as it was a blessing. Despite the surreal nature of his gift, Tyler's youth was defined by confusion and solitude. It wasn't just the rejection from others, it was a growing sense of disconnection, a feeling that he couldn't escape. The burden of knowing things that others couldn't see made him feel like an outsider in his own life. His gift didn't shield him from the pain of loss. It made him more intimately acquainted with it. The death of his grandmother so early in his life left an indelible mark on Tyler. It showed him that his connection to the spiritual world wasn't just about visions or experiences. It was about loss. The beginning of his psychic awakening was inseparable from grief, and this pattern would play out time and time again in his life. The weight of this gift would only grow heavier as Tyler entered adolescence. What started as a strange insight into the unseen world became a burden he couldn't explain. The more he learned about his abilities, the more isolated he became, with few people who could relate or understand. His psychic awareness became not just a gift, but a source of deep emotional confusion. It created a rift between Tyler and the world around him. The complexities of his abilities, deep, mysterious, and emotionally intense, would continue to define his life, offering no real respite or relief. Growing up in the small town of Hanford, California, Tyler was marked by the social isolation that comes with being different in a close-knit community. While some might have been curious or accepting of his abilities, the predominant reaction was one of fear and suspicion. This was especially true in the religious environment in which he was raised, where beliefs about clairvoyance were divided. For some, Tyler's abilities were a gift, something extraordinary and spiritual, but for many, they were seen as something dark and unnatural. This conflict in belief systems created an additional layer of difficulty for Tyler, forcing him to not only navigate his personal challenges, but also the judgments of an entire community. School was difficult for Tyler, particularly middle school, a time when he was already struggling to understand his abilities while trying to fit in with his peers. The emotional toll of being different, of feeling excluded, left scars that would stay with him throughout his life. As high school approached, the isolation continued. The very community that had shaped his early years seemed to reject him because of his gift. Rather than offering support, the people he grew up with often looked at him with fear and skepticism. This left Tyler on the sidelines, emotionally isolated and deeply lonely. The loneliness wasn't just social, it was deeply internal. Tyler often found himself questioning the nature of his abilities and whether he was simply too different for the world to accept. Raised in an environment where belief in the supernatural was met with distrust, Tyler was forced to confront not only his gift but also the rejection of his closest community. For years, this internal conflict simmered beneath the surface as Tyler struggled to accept the very thing that made him who he was. This isolation was a theme that would follow him into adulthood. But while he was a young man struggling with loneliness and rejection, his psychic abilities were about to take him into a very public sphere. The deep emotional wounds Tyler experienced during his childhood would shape his adult career, pushing him into the limelight. Despite the emotional cost of fame, Tyler's gift would eventually bring him closer to millions of people, each of whom sought his guidance. But his journey would not be without further challenges. Even before Tyler's rise to fame, his health had always been precarious. Born 3 months premature, he entered the world frail and vulnerable, a foreshadowing of the medical struggles he would face later in life. Throughout his early adulthood, Tyler endured multiple surgeries and life-threatening conditions that would only add to the emotional strain he was already under. One of the most frightening moments came just after his 18th birthday, when Tyler was diagnosed with hydrocephalus due to an arachnoid brain cyst. The cyst blocked the flow of cerebrospinal fluid, leading to dangerous pressure on his brain. Tyler underwent emergency surgery and thankfully recovered quickly. But the scare was a stark reminder of his own vulnerability. His health battles didn't stop there. In 2025, Tyler had another brain surgery to remove a colloid cyst. His attitude throughout this ordeal was remarkable. He referred to the surgery as "not my first rodeo." But beyond his resilience, Tyler's experiences with illness served as a constant reminder of how fragile life could be. In 2019, just before the global pandemic, Tyler faced another health crisis when he suffered a collapsed lung. He spent weeks in the hospital, undergoing surgery and struggling with severe damage to his lungs. Tyler suspected this injury might have been related to COVID-19, which had affected him and his family in ways they could not explain. The strain on his body was immense, and it forced Tyler to become more mindful of his health, especially considering his physical fragility in contrast to the extraordinary nature of his gifts. These health struggles became a defining part of his story, adding yet another layer of complexity to his already complicated life. Tyler's health battles often intersected with his psychic work, creating a delicate balance between the physical and emotional toll of both worlds. His health challenges shaped his perspective on life and death, further deepening his connection to the spiritual realm and reinforcing his resilience in the face of adversity. As Tyler's career flourished, so did public scrutiny. The rise of his fame as a medium brought with it both admiration and criticism. Tyler became known for his calm demeanor and his ability to deliver emotional readings, often leaving clients in tears. But his success sparked controversy. Critics questioned the authenticity of his abilities, accusing him of exploiting people's grief for profit. Some claimed that his mediumship was nothing more than a performance, a carefully crafted act designed to sell hope to the vulnerable. Tyler responded to this criticism with grace and openness. In a 2018 interview with Larry King, he admitted that he never expected universal belief in his abilities. He understood that his work existed in a strange space between faith and skepticism. Tyler embraced skepticism, viewing it as a healthy part of the conversation. Over time, this attitude of transparency became a defining trait, as he remained unshaken by criticism. He often said that skepticism came from humanity's discomfort with uncertainty, a yearning for proof in a world where only faith can exist. Ironically, the very skepticism that challenged his authenticity only added to his cultural relevance. Each debate over his abilities kept his name in the public conversation, ensuring that the discussion about belief and skepticism remained alive. Behind the public persona, however, Tyler was a man carrying not only the weight of his gifts, but also the emotional burden of his own grief and doubts. The emotional toll of Tyler's work became painfully evident in the wake of his personal losses. One of the most painful moments was the death of his close friend, Terry, who succumbed to brain cancer. Tyler had known about Terry's fate before it happened, but that knowledge did nothing to ease the pain. In fact, it made it worse. Tyler distanced himself from Terry before his passing, a decision that haunted him for years. This loss revealed the true cost of Tyler's gift, the constant emotional toll of connecting with the dead while carrying the weight of his own grief. Tyler's personal struggles didn't end with loss. Coming out as gay was a long, painful process for him. He described it as coming out 20 times, each time facing disbelief and rejection from those closest to him. Balancing the public demands of his career, his grief, and his personal identity was overwhelming, and it took a heavy toll on his mental and emotional well-being. Despite these challenges, Tyler has continued to push forward, carrying his burdens with resilience. His story is a powerful reminder that even those who guide others through loss must find ways to heal their own wounds. Tyler's coping mechanisms are built on the understanding that he cannot fully shut out the pain he encounters through his work. He has learned to compartmentalize his emotions, to turn the connection on and off as needed, but it's never easy. The weight of his abilities is always there, quietly humming in the background, affecting his life in ways that few can understand. Tyler's journey is a testament to the human spirit's capacity for resilience. Despite the overwhelming challenges he has faced, health crises, skepticism, loss, and rejection, he continues to embrace his gift, even when it comes with a heavy emotional cost. Through it all, Tyler's story serves as a powerful reminder that behind every extraordinary gift lies a human being, struggling to navigate both the seen and the unseen worlds.